James Oxygen and Supply, from residential to industrial, a locally owned family business serving Western North Carolina since 1956.
I'm Ralph Mangum for the WHKY News. Let's take a look back now at a few of the crime stories we had for you during the week of May 19th through May 23rd.
On Monday, May 19th, Caldwell County Sheriff's detectives announced they are looking for a stolen truck. According to a statement, between May 18th and May 19th, an unknown person stole a blue 2016 Mack truck with SSS logging on the side. The truck also has a brush guard on the front of the vehicle. There was no trailer attached at the time. The last known location of the truck was at 3428 Morganton Boulevard at the corner of Playmore Beach Road. If you have any information or know where to find this truck, call Detective Britt at 828-758-2324 or call Crime Stoppers at 828-758-8300. Stay tuned to WHKY.com. I'm Ariana Mack.
According to reports, it was DNA evidence that led to authorities filing these new charges. The new charges include counts of breaking and entering to a vehicle and theft of a vehicle. The suspect is not listed as an inmate in Alexander County at the time I'm filing this report. A court date is scheduled for June. 61-year-old Scott Darnell Fry of Hiddenite was released after serving a prison term for multiple counts of felony possession of Schedule II controlled substance. He was convicted in Alexander County on October 9th of 2024. Fry was scheduled to appear in court in Alexander County on Monday on felony counts of larceny, breaking and entering to a motor vehicle, and larceny of a motor vehicle. As I said, as of the time I'm filing this report, Fry is not being housed in the Alexander County Detention Center. According to our news partner, WACB, Alexander County Sheriff Chad Pennell said the new charges were filed after DNA evidence was confirmed implicating Fry while he was in prison. His next district court date is scheduled for June 2nd in Taylorsville. Reporting for WHKY News, I'm Rob Eastwood.
40-year-old Harold Bruce Powell Jr. of Morganton has been arrested by Burke County Sheriff's officers on felony counts of possession of a weapon of mass destruction, possession of a firearm by a felon, 2 counts, possession of stolen goods, possession of a stolen motor vehicle, maintaining a dwelling for narcotics, and possession of methamphetamine. He was also charged with misdemeanor possession of drug paraphernalia. On May 11th, sheriff's officers responded to a break-in at a residence off of Rain Hill Church Road in Morganton. Stolen items included a motor vehicle, 2 tractors, 2 utility trailers, several pieces of heavy equipment, and multiple firearms. About an hour later, officers spotted some of the stolen items at Powell's residence. The homeowners were contacted and informed of the ongoing investigation and the potential presence of stolen property on their premises. The homeowners granted permission to search the exterior. During the search, deputies located the stolen motor vehicle, a stolen utility trailer taken from McDowell County, and a skid steer that had also been reported as stolen. Investigators then obtained a search warrant to conduct a full search. Investigators found 2 firearms in Powell's possession, methamphetamine and drug paraphernalia. An improvised explosive device was found in Powell's bedroom. The SBI's bomb squad and the Burke County Fire Marshal were called in to safely dispose of the device. Officers recovered approximately $41,500 in stolen property. Powell was jailed under a $70,000 secured bond. He'll appear in district court on June 5th.
That's correct, Ralph. 47-year-old William Shane Patton of Calico Road in Lenoir was arrested Friday by Caldwell County Sheriff's officers. He's charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Patton is a felon as a result of multiple convictions dating back to 2006. His most recent conviction was in March 2022 in Caldwell County for felony larceny of a motor vehicle. Patton was incarcerated in the Catawba County Detention Center without bond. A district court date was scheduled for Monday. And 36-year-old Matthew Cody James Hildebrand of 37th Street Southwest in Hickory was arrested Monday by Catawba County Sheriff's officers. He's charged with possession of a firearm by a felon, possess, sell, buy, or alter a gun, serial number, possession of methamphetamine, and failure to appear on counts of resisting a public officer and possession of drug paraphernalia. Hildebrand was incarcerated in the Catawba County Detention Facility under $15,000 bond. District court dates were scheduled for May 20th and June 2nd. Stay tuned to the crime report at WHKY.com. I'm Ariana Mack.
Prosecutors will seek the death penalty for 75-year-old Terrell Eugene Giddens of Sherrills Ford. Giddens is accused of killing Jeffrey Guida during a road rage incident in October of last year. After he allegedly shot Guida, Giddens reportedly turned his rifle on the truck Guida was driving and pulled the trigger with Guida's 3 children inside. The children, ages 13, 11, and 2, were not injured. Giddens remains in the Catawba County Detention Facility where he's being held without bond on charges of murder and attempted first-degree murder. He'll appear in Superior Court on October 13th in Newton.
22-year-old Jerome Victor Deact of Brockton, Massachusetts, was arrested May 15th by Iredell County Sheriff's officers. He's charged with felony counts of possession of a stolen firearm, possession with intent to sell or deliver marijuana, possession of marijuana, and maintaining a vehicle for the sale of a controlled substance. He's also charged with misdemeanor possession of drug paraphernalia. A traffic stop on Interstate 77 North at the 63-mile marker led to the arrest of Deact and the discovery of more than 2 pounds of marijuana along with multiple firearms. One of the firearms had been reported stolen. During the stop, a deputy and a K-9 officer were called to the scene to assist. The K-9 gave a positive alert on the vehicle, prompting a search. During the search, deputies found over 2 pounds of marijuana and 4 firearms concealed inside the vehicle. Further investigation revealed that one of the firearms had been reported stolen out of Greer, South Carolina. Deact was taken into custody at the scene and transported to the Iredell County Detention Center under a $100,000 secured bond. A district court date is set for June 3rd. I'm Ariana Mack for WHKY.
The incident occurred earlier this week here at Creative Beginnings Daycare, which is located just behind me here in Lenoir. The suspect was arrested on Wednesday and was placed in jail under a $500,000 bond. As of the time I'm filing this report, she is not listed as an inmate here in Caldwell County. The daycare has had its license suspended by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. 29-year-old Alexandra Lee Livingston Coffey of Amick Road in Lenoir was arrested by Lenoir police and charged with involuntary manslaughter. Coffey was arrested in connection to an investigation into the death of a 16-month-old child named Maddie on Monday, May 19th at Creative Beginnings here in Lenoir. At approximately 2:45 p.m. on Monday, first responders found an unresponsive 16-month-old child. CPR and other life-saving measures were immediately initiated. The child was transported to Caldwell UNC Healthcare, where resuscitation efforts continued. Despite the efforts, the child was pronounced deceased shortly after arrival at the hospital. Coffey was taken into custody without incident on Wednesday and was jailed in the Caldwell County Detention Center under a $500,000 secured bond. The investigation is continuing. If you have any information, you are asked to contact the Lenoir Police Department at 828-757-2100 or Lenoir Caldwell County Crime Stoppers at 828-758-8300. And you can check our website, WHKY.com, for updates on this case. Reporting from Lenoir for WHKY News, I'm Rob Eastwood.
3 suspects have been charged in connection to a shooting incident in Morsville. 19-year-old Brandon Adams is charged with discharging a firearm in the city limits and possession of marijuana. 19-year-old Ja'Cory Deshaun Kirkland is charged with discharging a firearm in the city limits. 20-year-old Justin Davidson is charged with discharging a firearm in the city limits, felony possession of marijuana, and possession of drug paraphernalia. On May 16th, Morsville Police Department received a call of shots being fired in the area of Lookout Point Place. The caller stated that people were shooting outside of their residence. Occupants of a Dodge Charger were exchanging gunfire with individuals on foot. Officers responded to the scene, and while they were arriving, a Dodge Charger was seen leaving the area. A traffic stop was conducted on the vehicle and 2 firearms were located. 3 male occupants were in the Dodge Charger and were arrested and charged. Additional charges are forthcoming. Officers are still looking for the 2 individuals on foot who were involved in this incident and are continuing to investigate. Anyone with further information, contact the Morsville Police Department at 704-664-3311.
35-year-old Carlos Terrell O'Neill Wilkerson of Monroeville, Alabama, has been arrested by Burke County Sheriff's officers on felony counts of obtaining property by false pretenses and extortion, along with a misdemeanor count of impersonation of a law enforcement officer. Events leading to Wilkerson's arrest began on December 12th of last year when the sheriff's office took a report regarding a phone scam in which a caller falsely identified himself as Sheriff Banks Henseman. The caller said the victim had missed jury duty and threatened the victim with arrest unless a payment of $6,000 was made. The victim, acting under duress, paid the money. An investigation led to the identification of Wilkerson as the suspect. He was charged accordingly and was located and arrested in Alabama on May 11th. He was extradited to Burke County on May 21st and given a $50,000 secured bond. A district court appearance was set for May 22nd in Morganton. 31-year-old Jordan Austin Reed of Statesville has been arrested by Statesville police on 1 count of felony assault inflicting serious bodily injury. At about 11:40 Wednesday morning, officers responded to a reported stabbing at a gas station on Davie Avenue, where a victim was suffering from multiple stab wounds. The victim was taken to a local hospital and later airlifted to Wake Forest Baptist for further treatment of life-threatening injuries. At last report, the victim remained in critical but stable condition. Officers quickly located the suspect in the parking lot at the Hallmark Inn, where he was taken into custody without incident. Reed was searched and a weapon was recovered. According to witness statements and surveillance footage, Reed and the victim were involved in a physical altercation in the gas station. Reed allegedly stabbed the victim multiple times, followed the victim into the parking lot, and continued the assault. Reed was jailed under a $25,000 bond with a court date on June 10th.
We've been reporting on this case here on WHKY since 2023. According to our news partner, WACB, on Monday, May 19th, 52-year-old Tammy Duckworth Boon of Morganton entered a guilty plea in Burke County Superior Court. She pleaded guilty to discharging a firearm into an occupied dwelling from a moving vehicle and obstruction of justice. Boon was sentenced to 55 to 78 months or 4 years, 7 months to 6 years, 6 months in prison. As WHKY previously reported, Boon and her accomplice, 32-year-old Dylan Rogers of Morganton, were charged in connection to the 2023 murder of 41-year-old Brandy Deal and her unborn child. The deaths occurred February 10th of 2023. First responders arrived at the scene initially in response to a 911 call made by the victim's boyfriend regarding cardiac arrest. However, they found Deal suffering from gunshot wounds. She and the baby later died from their injuries. Boon's plea deal follows Rogers' nearly 2-week trial that concluded April 10th. After the jury deliberated for 3.5 hours over 2 days, Rogers was found guilty of murder and was sentenced to life in prison without parole. He is being held at Central Prison in Raleigh. So once again, a 55 to 78 month sentence for Tammy Duckworth Boon of Morganton. Reporting for WHKY News, I'm Rob Eastwood.
In Catawba County Superior Court Thursday, a Catawba County jury found a 64-year-old Jesse Allen Crawford of Hickory guilty of first-degree murder in the death of Iris Renee Robinson, bringing a trial of nearly 2 weeks to an end. The jury needed a little more than an hour to return the guilty verdict. The Honorable Karen Edie Williams, Superior Court judge from Mecklenburg County, sentenced Crawford to life without parole. The trial began with jury selection on May 12th, followed by opening statements from the state and the defense. Following evidence presentation from both sides, including testimony from the defendant, closing arguments took place Thursday before the case went to the jury for deliberation. In June of 2021, Newton police responded to a shots fired report at a residence. They found the victim lying in the yard with gunshot wounds to her upper body. Witness accounts indicated that the defendant came to the property and assaulted Ms. Robinson as she and others were setting up for a cookout. After they were separated, Crawford went to his car, retrieved a gun, and started pointing it at people on the property. He left in his car but returned a short while later, got out, and fired 4 times, striking Ms. Robinson with multiple rounds. Autopsy reports showed that Ms. Robinson died of fatal wounds to the torso and abdomen from shots fired from a .45 caliber handgun. Testimony in the case revealed the volatility of the relationship between Crawford and Ms. Robinson, highlighting the physical abuse he inflicted upon her before taking her life. Sergeant Dylan Adkins and Lieutenant William Garrett led the investigation for the Newton Police Department. Assistant District Attorneys Jessica Phillips and Nancy Lee prosecuted the matter for the state with aid from legal assistants Amy Bischoff and Dia Crow.
53-year-old Stephen Andeloro of Morsville on Thursday was sentenced to 45 months in prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release for orchestrating a $6.1 million investment fraud scheme and for fraudulently obtaining more than $2.6 million in COVID relief funds. The announcement was made by Russ Ferguson, the U.S. Attorney for the Western District of North Carolina. U.S. District Judge Kenneth D. Bell also ordered Andeloro to pay restitution to the victims of his fraud. According to documents filed in the case and the sentencing hearing from 2018 to 2021, Andeloro operated an investment fraud scheme where he induced victims to invest in businesses, both real and fictitious, by making false representations about where and how the investors' money would be invested. In addition to that scheme, Andeloro also engaged in COVID fraud. Court records show that from April of 2020 to March of 2021, he obtained funds from the Paycheck Protection Program by submitting fraudulent applications for disaster relief loans intended for businesses that suffered economic hardship due to the pandemic. Andeloro received more than $2.6 million in disaster relief funds. Andeloro remains released on bond. He will be ordered to report to the Federal Bureau of Prisons upon designation of a facility. Once again, a 45-month prison sentence for Stephen Andeloro of Morsville. Reporting for WHKY News, I'm Rob Eastwood.
That's correct, Ralph. 20-year-old Justin Smith Davidson of Statesville was arrested Wednesday by Statesville police officers. He's charged with possession of a weapon of mass destruction, possession with intent to sell and deliver marijuana, felony possession of marijuana, carrying a concealed weapon, and possession of drug paraphernalia. On Wednesday, the Statesville Police Department received a report of suspicious activity at Mallard Creek Apartments on Simonton Road. The department's crime reduction team initiated an investigation in response to the complaint and identified Justin Smith Davidson of Statesville as the occupant of the residence in question. Based on probable cause developed during the investigation, officers obtained a search warrant for the location. As a result of the investigation and execution of the search warrant, CRT members seized 181 grams of marijuana, a 9mm handgun equipped with an aftermarket switch, making it fully automatic, digital scales, ammunition, U.S. currency, and other drug-related paraphernalia. Davidson was transported to the Iredell County Jail, where he was taken before a magistrate and held without bond due to being out on bond for prior charges. District court dates are scheduled for June 4th and June 10th. I'm Ariana Mack for WHKY.
And that's our weekly review of some of the crime stories we had for you during the week of May 19th through 23. The weekly roundup is posted every Saturday on our YouTube channel. That's where you'll also find our top stories, the crime report, local sports, and community focus. I'm Ralph Mangum. Thanks for watching the WHKY News.